Right. So we have been talking about now we know what is class, what is object, how to create a class object, how to write a method, how to initiate the um, class, or how to initiate or like how to trigger the method by creating the objects. So we have been talking about all that. And then we talked about the little advanced portion of it, like what is the DML, the data manipulation language, and we have been talking about how to. Now we know how to create a record. It could be any record from any object, meaning it could be an account, or it could be contact, or it could be lead case from the standard object. We could also create a object from the custom object as well. Okay, but it's all the same concept. We have to call the API. We have been talking about how to create a record, which means that how to insert the record, how to update the existing record, how to upsert the record. Upsert in sense like it is going to avoid the duplicates, and then insert if possible, and if it already exists, it will just update. So the combination of insert and update is the upsert. Okay, and then so before we move forward to the, we still need to talk about delete, undelete, and merge. Okay, all right. So before we talk about that, let me tell you, like we do have, yeah, when we're talking about the DML is, we have to, as a developer, we have to write a code, especially when we are dealing with the database. We have to make sure that we are writing the code in a proper manner and then catching the exceptions. Okay, so in the 7, right? Okay, we still need to talk about delete, undelete, and merge. Okay, we'll come back to that. When we're talking about the DML, one thing that we need to understand about the DML is the DML statement exceptions. Okay, say for example, you are executing the code. While you are executing the code, something is happening. Like you are not able to get the response, or you are not able to communicate to the database. Something is happening. Okay, how will you know, like something got failed? We have to catch, or we have to deal with the edge case. Like if something got failed, we need to deal with the failure scenarios. Those are called the exceptions. Okay, first of all, what is exception? In the real world, we say like hey, can you buy everything except this, meaning ignore that. Okay, similarly, if you are trying to do something, while you are doing something, that is not happening, except that something else is happening. What you need to do, you need to catch those exceptions and see why that operations were not completed or not executed, and then why it came to the exception. In that way, you know what's going wrong. Okay, so if the DML operation fails, if the DML operation fails, let's say the DML operation fails, it will return to the exception. It will return to the exception. There are various exceptions are available. While we are talking about the DML, it is called the DML exception. Okay. Okay. In the world of Java, or like any object-oriented programming, the syntax of your exceptional statements, your syntax of your exceptional statements will be like, okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Let me close my chat. All right. So in the object-oriented programming, the object-oriented programming language, whenever you are dealing with the exception, the syntax will be like, you try to do this, okay, And when you're trying to do this, your try block, the code block, whatever, code block to be executed. Okay. And then this is the catch block. So whatever you are trying to execute, whenever you're trying to execute the code, your code will be written in the try block. This is where your code will get executed, in the try block. Okay. And when this is not happening, when the code gets executed, and if this is not happening for some reason, if database is down or your syntax is like correct, but for some reason the system is not responding properly, so it will go to the catch exception. If everything goes well, it will execute all the statements in the try, meaning line 1, line 2, line 3, it will get executed. It will never get into the catch if everything is good. Okay. In case if something is wrong while we're executing the code, so all of the code that we wrote here, all of this code that we wrote here needs to be technically written in the try catch block. Because if you write a code like this, your technical lead or technical architect would say, oh, you are updating the object, you are you are upserting the object, or you are inserting the object, you are updating the existing object, meaning you are dealing with the database. If something is going wrong, how will you know that? So see, for example, you are uploading 50,000 users to the database or to the user records. You are creating account or contact. You are creating like 50,000 records. If after 25 it got fails, or 25,000 it got fails, how will you know that what are the things that got failed, at what point it got triggered? That is why we need to deal with the catch. Always, whenever you execute the code, the database related code, you need to catch your exception. That is why the exception when we are dealing with the database is called the DML exception. The DML exception. We have the exception called the DML exception. So if something got failed here, it will come here and then you can catch it here. Okay. We will try to see, we will try to reproduce and see what is happening. Okay. So if the DML operation fails, it returns to the exception of type DML exception. We can catch the exceptions and then handle the error conditions. If something is happening, or something is error is happening, what should we do? Those things, if error happens, what do we do? Whatever the things that we need to do can be written in the catch. Okay. So whenever we need to write it with the try catch block. Is it clear? What is the exception? Why do we need that? And what is the necessity of the exception? Whenever we are dealing with the database, there is an exception called the DML exception. Okay. So basically what we need to do is like, okay, let's write a piece of code here. Okay. Let me log into the org. So now we know what is exception, how to deal with the exception, how do we handle the exceptions. Let's see a scenario. We go here, developer console, right? And then let's write a Apex code. Okay, so we already copy pasted the code here, right? Yes, we already copy pasted. So let's use the same thing. Okay, here, create account. Okay, so I'm deleting all this. Now we know how to create an account, right? It's very simple. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to write it in the try block. Try. If anything error happens, I'm going to have it in the catch. And I'm saying that DML exception. And then saying that exe. So this is everything is a class and object. This is a class and this is the object. Okay. E or exe except anything, whatever you want. You can even put like Karthik, Srinath, Jatin, anything, because this is a class, this is an object. Okay. So this is the DML exception we are handling, and then we are going to use that in the format of the object here. Okay. So, all right. So this is the method, and this is the try block, and this is the catch block. Okay. The try block, what do? We are trying to do like, okay, create me an account object. Account equal to new account. Okay. I'm just putting like insert account. This is what I'm doing. If you see here, I'm trying to insert the empty object. I did not give anything. Okay. I did not create anything. So this is what we're doing. In case if something error message happens, I'm just putting it in the logs. Like, whenever we are dealing with bigger, larger data set or larger set of data, it's always catch it and then write it in the logs. Hey, okay, employee 1234 processed. Employee 758 not processed. If something comes here, these are not processed. If something comes here and then getting completed, it's get processed, correct? When something error happens, only then it comes here. Okay. So saying like system dot debug I'm saying that error occurred. And then from here, we can get the message, what exact message, why it came here. Dot, see here, whatever this you can get, what is the root cause of it? What are the fields? What are the index? What are the message? What are the DML message? Anything you can get, okay? So I'm just simply getting right now, give me just a message. What message? Why is it come here? Why does it came here? Okay, that's all I'm writing. Okay, here I'm not writing anything. I did not modify any change. Okay, everything is, it's the same method. Within the method, I'm writing a insert statement. We already know how to do with the insert. So before we move forward with the like, the delete or merge or anything like that, I want you to just focus. What is DML concept? What is the DML statements? What are the DML operations we have? And how to do that? What is the right way of doing it? We have to do this way. This is the right way of doing it. Okay, I'll tell you why. Okay, so now I'm creating the account and then I'm just catching it here. Okay, I'm having it here. Let's see. Let's try to execute it. I saved it. Okay, then I go here and it's just calling the account object, create object, and then it's calling the create account object. Okay, that's all I'm doing. I'm trying to execute it here. It is executing it. Okay, and then you go see here. See here, it says insert failed. Okay, it insert failed because the required field is missing. Okay, if you see here, I wrote a piece of code there. I wrote a piece of code. Error occurred, right? It is coming to the error record. If you don't have this, it will never come here. How do you know that? One object might have all the information. One object might not have the required information. When you're dealing with 50,000 records or 100,000 records, how do you know that? Now I know, okay, insert failed, error record. This is what I put, right? This is the error record. It came inside here. It did not execute here because something got happened. It could be any reason. See here, in this situation, whatever the mandatory field, That is not, how can you create an account with an empty object? At least account name should be there, or whatever the object you go and see, whatever the unique field or whatever the object that is necessary, you have to put that, right? When we don't do that, it's an error. If we don't do that, I will take out this and I'll show you. Okay, I'll take this out and I'll show you what happens. So I just want to make sure you understand the concept of what is exception. Exception is nothing but error handling. Why do we need that? We need to deal, whenever we are dealing with the Apex statements or any programming, if there are errors, we should know what are the errors and then we need to handle those errors. That is why we need to deal with the exception. There are various type of exceptions. When you're writing, like we'll be seeing a lot of advanced concepts. Right now we are dealing with DML. So DML exception is one of the exception that is available as part of Apex programming. Okay, that is why when you're having the DML exceptions and you're just getting the message, only this DML exceptions will give you the proper message. What does it say? Error record is ours. Okay, we wrote error record. After that, first exception on row 0, when you're trying to accept the first row itself, it failed. Required field missing. Required fields are missing. Name. The name is the required field which is missing. That's what it says. So think about it. You're having like 100,000 rows and then you keep on creating. Something might not have name, right? At 999th record might not even have like name or some other mandatory field. How do you know that? If we don't do that, we will not be able to catch it. We will, which means that, when I was a freshman or fresh out of college, when we write a code like that, tech lead will scold, hey, why are you eating your exceptions? Why are you eating your errors? You have to code in such a way that you get the exceptions and then deal with the exceptions. Only then we will know that, okay, think about the scenario. When this exceptions comes, you can even email. There is an email, there is a method to email. You can even email and tell that, oh, okay, so this record got failed, right? So that person can be notified. When I'm saying email, it's not ignore just creating the account. You're having a scheduled job. For example, scheduled job means like something is scheduled periodically to do. Like for example, every day you are creating a report and then sending to somebody with your CEO. For example, what are the sales that happened today? What is the total amount of sales that happened today? And you are emailing to your CEO. So email will be sent to CEO every day night. He'll open it and see, oh, okay, today we made this deal. Today these are the sales that came in and everything, like, for example, when you are running or when you are executing that statement, for example, one day it failed. For some reason it failed. Then the email will not be sent to CEO. But if you have one of your developer email sending the email here, if everything success, email will be sent to CEO from here. Everything will be generated, report will be generated, and the email to CEO. If error comes, email to support team or escalate it. So when somebody gets this email, they knew that, oh, okay, our job failed. And then they will immediately jump on and see that, why the job got failed, and they will fix it. Do you understand the power of dealing with the exceptions? The real-time scenarios that I explained.
Karthik, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, Karthik. Yes, I just have one. So the DML exemptions are only for returning syntax which has errors, or they can do it if they're having a doubt or anything which is related to not getting executed, then they will try this, or they'll use it for everything.
No, if there are any error condition comes, your DML exception will catch it. For example,
yes.
Your database is unable to reach.
Yes, Karthik. Yep.
Or you are having like too many connections. Your Salesforce is not getting to connect, because Salesforce is a multi-tenant platform. It's like an apartment. Now, you can live in one home, I can live in another home, Jatin can live in another home. So it's a multi-tenant environment where we all can share the elevator, right? Share resources. So Salesforce will not let Srinath to use all the resources. Say, for example, if Srinath is executing like 100,000 records at a time, okay, it's the resources, everything will be used to be consumed by Srinath. There is a limit. Okay, in those scenarios, it will catch the exceptions and they will not operate. They will not perform the DML operations, and they will tell you, hey, you have reached the maximum connections. You will not be able to move forward with any of your statement.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
that kind of things.
Okay.
It could be
Yes, I
anything.
got it.
It's not just a syntax. This is just one example that
Yes,
to
yes.
reproduce I did.
Yes, Karthik. Yep. So in the actual syntax for executing DML exemption is and try and catch, right?
Yeah, try and catch. You are
Yeah.
trying to do this. You are trying to do this. Remember
Yes.
this. You are trying to do something, and if that
Yep.
happens, the error is happening. We will have to catch the exception. We cannot eat it.
Okay.
We have to catch the
Yes.
exception. That's all. I
Yep.
want to
Okay.
catch that exception. Okay, so because in the real-time scenarios, whenever you go and write the code, when there is an error or when something is failing, the first question will come from the technical architect is, hey, did you guys catch the exception? What is the exception says? What is the error says? What does the log says? Okay, okay. Very is with me. So far, very is able to follow me.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so think about the real-time scenario. The report, if the email was sent here, which means that the job got failed. It could be in any situation. It's ignore the DML exception. DML exception is one of the piece. In regular job itself, I'm saying, like, when you're trying to execute a job, if this happens, everything is good. If this happens, something went wrong, right? So they can come and take a look at it and then read the exceptions and see what happens. Okay, this is the example that I'm showing it with the DML exception. Okay, there are like various exception classes that is available as part of Salesforce. When we are dealing with this respective modules, we'll be dealing with the respective exceptions. We'll be discussing about in detail the exceptions. Okay, but this is the right way of doing the coding, to have the try and catch. Does it make sense? Can you guys type in the chat window? Do you have any questions?
Yes, Karthik, it's clear now for me.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is, it could be wrong. Let's do some mistakes. No problem. Okay, that is why I'm just writing a piece of code and then I'm trying to execute it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the catch block. This is the catch block, right? This is the catch block. Okay, I'm going to take out the catch block, and I'm also going to take out the try block. So this is the method. This is the class. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's try to execute the code. System.debug. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm faking it. I'm giving the fake message like record created. Okay, and then I'm going to the debug in the anonymous window. I'm executing it. See here. So when you're trying to execute from your test code, this is the test window, right? This is the test code. Okay. Okay. When you're trying to execute from the test code, it is throwing the error. Okay. But when you're creating as a larger set of program, when this piece of code is written by Srinath, if Jatin is calling, okay, when he's calling, he'll just call this method. Okay, at that point it's not getting executed. Okay, so if you don't do that with a try catch or a proper way, it will not get logged anywhere. It will be lost. Will be lost with the code. We never know. Nobody can identify what happens. It did not create, but nothing happened. Since we are having the Apex code, it is telling you that, okay, so hey, this is an anonymous error. You see here the execution of anonymous error. Okay, but think about it. When you had the try catch, did you get this error? When you had the try and catch, which means that the system knows you are handling it. and you are handling it with the try and catch. If something error happens, it is going to the it's going to the catch block. Now the system cannot go anywhere. Okay, now the system cannot go anywhere.
Yeah, so now the system does not go anywhere, and it executes an error
Yes.
where when we
Yeah,
use
it's ended with the
code,
execution.
yeah, when we use the DML exceptions, then it it knows that we are trying to do something with it, and
It fails, and
yeah,
then you can even handle the failures.
yes, yes, Karthik, yep.
You can handle the failures. Here you are lost.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
So you are just but we are testing the test code from here. Okay,
Yes,
but
yes.
at least we are able to see it with the anonymous code block. This is anonymous code block. We are able to execute it. But if somebody is calling your method, they will be keep calling your method. Okay, and it will just, when it is compiling, it will just throw an error message in the log, and then you will be keep on moving. But you will not be able to handle your error at all. That is why you need to have the try and catch block. That's called exceptions. The exceptions are nothing but the error handling. How do you handle your errors? But when you're having the try and catch block, you have the control. If something comes to the error block or the catch block, okay, you can shoot an email to somebody and saying that, hey, this did not happen, can you take a look at that? Or you can create a task for somebody in the Salesforce. They will go and get it in the queue. You can create a case in the Salesforce and then put it in the queue. You can do all sort of operations. You know how to create a queue. Okay, you can put it in the workflow. You can do all sort of things so that your inventory doesn't, you are not losing your inventory. You keep track of things. Do you understand the power of having this catch and exceptions, try and catch exceptions? Hello, any questions?
No, no, I'm clear.
Any questions? Okay, so everything clear. Okay, cool. So I want you guys to do the hands-on. Whenever you're doing the DML operations, do it with your try and catch. Okay, just try to see. Okay, all right. Now let's go back. Okay, so how do we even delete a record?
Delete and delete, yes.
So if you want to delete the records, like, all you need to do is, like, you are saying, like, insert, right? We are saying the insert. All you need to do is you need to delete. That's all you need to specify. Okay, but you can delete the saved record. Whatever the records that's been saved in the Salesforce, you can delete them by using the delete statement. Okay, so let me copy paste this code. Oh, should be able to copy paste with the try catch. That makes more sense. Hey, this is the piece that I was. All right. So now let's talk about, like, the delete. Okay. So you can only delete your persisted data or the saved data. Okay. When whatever the data that you created, whatever the records that you created, whatever it's persisted in the Salesforce, you will be able to delete. The same way, whatever the syntax that we're using here, instead of insert, you have to use the delete, using the delete statement. Okay. Also, one more thing. This is an interview question or the certification question. Whenever you delete the records, they are not deleted permanently. Okay, even from the Lightning platform, they are not deleted, but they will be placed in the recycle bin for 15 days, where they can be easily restored. Say, for example, you deleted, like, the valid data, and then tomorrow you're thinking, oh gosh, I deleted the data, I should have not done that, I lost my data. That's not the case. You still have 15 days of your time. Those data will be available in the recycle bin where you can always go and restore back. Okay. So the deleted records. Records can be deleted using delete statement, and they are placed in recycle bin for 15 days. They can be restored. Okay. So, like say for example, you can even delete your bulk operations. Okay, we have been dealing with all of these are we have been dealing with the list, and we know how to insert one record, how to insert multiple records, how to update the multiple records at a time, how to upsert the multiple records. So you can even delete one single record, or you can even delete like multiple records in the list. Okay, all you need to do in the list. Okay, so even if you want to do the bulk DML operations, you should be able to do it. Okay, so how do we even do the how do you even do the delete? Okay, so there are like a couple of ways to do it. You can write the SQL query, or you can even delete with your object. Okay, so delete with SQL query to fetch the records that needs to be deleted. Okay, so you need something. Okay, you create an object, you saved. Okay, you create an object and then you save, right? And then so here we are inserting and we are updating the same record that we inserted. Whatever that's been saved in the database, okay, you need to get it back to delete it. Okay, say for example, we are 3 employees, Karthik, Srinath, and Jatin. These are the 3 people that are the employees in a company. And you're saying that, hey, you want to delete Karthik. Okay, you need something, right? Hey, get from the employee record whose last name is Karthik. That is going to bring you the object, and then you can delete it, right? You should be able to delete the operations. Okay, how do you get it? Okay, so that's where you need to write a query. Okay, so whenever we are going to write a query, it's called the query language. Query language. Okay.
So, Karthik, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there any requirement here to learn SQL and all?
Is there any requirement you need to learn SQL? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes, because
Okay. Yeah.
meaning we are not going to write top-notch complex things,
Yes,
because
but just simpler
yeah,
things to make it work, right?
yes, simpler things to make it work, because the Salesforce is very easy, which
Yes.
makes more sense. And
Yes.
then you'll be able to go through those query and then execute those query.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you still need the skill to write a query.
Yes. Yes, Karthik. Sure.
Okay. So in order to write a query, I'm just when I'm trying to bring in the whole DML, I'm just combining how to insert the record with the object, how to deal with the multiple objects or multiple records, bulk DML operations, and we also discussed about like how to deal with the exceptions. And now while we are doing the deletions and all those things, you need to fetch. How do we fetch? There are various ways to fetch. Okay, the one thing, the primary thing that you need to learn is the query. What is the query? The query is nothing but executing that piece of code or piece of query against the database to get your data. Okay, to fetch the data. Okay, it's a simple SQL statement. Whenever you select, whenever you want to get from the database, you use the select statement. Okay, even before that, so we have two query languages. We have two languages in the Salesforce. Okay, one is called SOQL. The other one is called SOSL. Okay, the one that we're talking about. Okay, the reason why I want you to, the reason why I'm just mixing up these things with the DML is it still involves your data manipulation. Whenever you write a query, it's still you are going to deal with the data manipulation. I don't want to go in a certain pattern. Just hey, just go through the statements by book, read this. Okay, insert, upsert, update, delete, merge, undelete. Okay, and then the next topic is query. We don't want to go there. The reason why I'm just mixing this is so that you don't get forget. You won't forget, and you will understand the concept of why do we need the query, what the query can do. That is why I'm just bringing the query now. Okay, so there are two things in the Salesforce. One is called SOQL. They call it as SOQL, and they also call it as SOSL. SOQL is nothing but the Salesforce Object Query Language. The Salesforce Object Query Language. Object Query Language, which means we'll talk about what is query language. Okay, Salesforce Object Query Language. The other thing is called as SOSL, which is called Salesforce Object Search Language. Salesforce Object Search Language. Okay, that is called SOQL query language, and this is called the search language. Okay, and so whenever you want to develop something with related to the query, that is in the developer, you do have a console called query editor. Okay, that you can always go and execute your queries. How do we go there? How do we go there? Let me show you. Let me show you. We go to the setup, developer console, right? Here is the query editor. This is where you can execute any query, because whatever you see in the Salesforce database, you will not be able to connect to the database directly. Salesforce doesn't let you to do. Salesforce doesn't let you to connect to the database directly. In order to see the records, you need to write your SQL queries, which is called SOQL here in Salesforce Object Query Language. That is why when you click on the query editor in the developer console, they're saying enter SOQL or SOSL query. There are two query languages. We'll be talking about what is SOQL, what is SOSL, what is the difference between the SOQL and SOSL and all that. So basically, this is how you can access to the query editor and you can do the query language or the search language. So from the name itself, you can identify whenever you want to query against the object, you can use the Salesforce Object Query Language. When you want to search for any keyword, any one particular keyword, you can use the search language. Okay, I still need to. I'll take a separate class about just what is SOQL and SOSL, and then the complex of SOQL and SOSL. But to understand how we can delete, we do need the SOQL. Okay, I just don't want to write the query and say that this is how you delete it. I want to combine.
So,
Yeah.
yes, Karthik. So the usage of these SOQL and SOSL only permits us to delete the record, right?
No, that doesn't mean that you have
Like
to. Okay.
if we have a query and if it's still going on, Can we delete the record
Yeah,
or have to modify the query and then delete it, right?
yeah. You okay? Say for example, you are having like 100 employees.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
you are getting 100 employees.
Mm.
You can even update, right? Not just
Yeah.
delete.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The SQL statement is just to bring the data from the database.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's what
Okay.
I was asking. Thanks,
Yes.
Karthik.
It doesn't mean that you can whenever you use delete, you have to use the SOQL. No,
Yeah. Okay.
that's a wrong statement. I
Yep.
told you that. You, as long as you have your object, you can even delete, update, insert, delete. You can do anything that you want.
Okay.
I want to show you a different flavor. You can even delete by selecting the query. You can bring in the data that you want to delete, and then you can use the delete statement. Okay.
Okay, Karthik.
That doesn't mean that, okay, whenever you're using instead of this insert, if you're using delete, this will be deleted, the
Yeah. Yeah.
delete statement. But here I'm creating a new object and then I'm inserting, it works.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
How do you delete? You need to get the object, right? That is why I'm writing a query to get
Yes.
the record and then delete the record.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Say for example, I will, okay, so say for example, I will write a query to bring account. Okay. And I will simply use this for loop and then find out what is the contact. What is the contact associated to the account? What is the contact object? Right? Contact is the contact object associated to the account, right? Then I will just delete the contact. Okay. So if you see here, when I'm deleting the contact, I'm not writing any query. I wrote a query only to bring the account object. And within the account object, we have like so many fields, right? One of the field will be the contact. Every account will have the contact, right? And then this is nothing but a related object or related list. This is how we say like a related list in Salesforce. What do we call it as a related list or the related data or related record. So I'm just deleting this related record. So in this way, I'm not writing the query to delete directly here. Okay, I'm bringing in the data and then I'm finding the related data and then I'm deleting it. It is possible, correct? So I'm not just writing a query. So the reason why I'm explaining this is there is no such thing called whenever you want to delete, you always need to write a query. No, as long as you have an object, you can even delete it. Correct? Yeah, do you agree with me?
Yes, Karthik. I completely agree.
All right. So, for example, whenever you are dealing with a query, I always go here and write my query first to execute it. That's a best practice. That's I always tell to my team members. Like I don't want to write a code by having the query and then debugging the query. So if you know that, mm, if you know that this is what your result is going to be, then you should be able to confident enough to write the code. Okay. So if you look at the query editor, if you see the query editor, okay. So I'm just going to write a piece of query. Let's say, like let's bring in the contact. Let's see whatever we created, right? In the sales. Where is the contact? Okay. So what do we have? This is the first name and this is the last name we gave, right? First name and last name. Okay, last name is Jatin. Let's see. Let's pull all the records. Okay. So the way how we write the query, you go here, you simply write like so this is the statement. They are giving self-explanatory. Select columns from type where you can put the conditions. That's all. Okay. Select. Let's say for example, I want some columns. like ID, comma name, comma email from contact. Okay, what happens when you just execute it? You see here, it brings everything. Whatever you asked, ID, name, email. This is the ID, this is the name, this is the email. Okay, so you want to delete only who has the last name as Levy, for example, I'm saying. Okay, and then you can say where last name, name, can even say last name, and then execute and see what is the value of the last name. Okay, I did not use the comma. That's what the error came. Okay, I missed the comma before. Now you see this is the last name. Okay, so if you want to have Levy, or if you want to just delete Upsert or Karthik, okay, delete select ID. We can write only the select statement. Okay, select ID, name, last name, email from contact, where last name equal to, we have two Jatin. Let's see. We have to put in the single quotes. I told you from day one, always the string will be in the single quotes. See, it's bringing two records. Okay, so now we know like SOQL is the Salesforce object query language. We just query against the object. Okay, and so you can ask a question. So okay, when will we be using the search language? Say for example, SOSL. You want to search against any particular keyword across your org, not with irrespective of any one particular object. Here we are writing the query against one object, which is called contact. But we want to search against a specific keyword across the org, then we will be using this SYSL. I'll tell you, like, when you're going much detail about like what is SYSL and how can we use the SYSL and everything. Now our concept is now the topic that we need to learn is how can we write a query, how do we bring the data, how can we delete the records. Okay, now we know what is SOQL. From the developer console, how to write the query. Okay, this is what select ID. These are all ID is nothing but a fields or columns, whatever we have it in the object. From object name, where condition, field name equal to the value. This field is I'm searching against the last name. Whoever has the last name as Jatin, bring them. That's what. Okay. Now we
But
have, yeah.
actually, when we do the query, we will get the records, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we wanted to delete a particular record, we can copy that ID and paste it over there and just delete it, right?
Yeah, you can do either way, whatever you want. All you need to do is like either you can delete a bunch of records, or you can delete only one record.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
So for deleting bunch of records, we can use data loader, right?
Yeah, you can even use the data loader, but you can even use your query. So we are not. I mean, now we are talking about the development, right? The data
Yeah.
loader is a kind of admin related stuff. The
Yeah. So, I was saying like, how could we do with the code thing?
to delete in bulk.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. See here, I put both. So this is what this explains. It's a typed language, meaning it's going to give it's a case insensitive language. Okay. As soon as you type, he'll see the problem if there is any problem. And also, like I used the last name as here L, all lowercase. Here I used all upper cases. So it is irrespective of case it will work. Now I wrote this query and these are in the this brings 4 records. I'm going to delete all 4 records at one time. This is a bulk, right? Bulk delete operation, correct?
Yes.
Can we do that now? Okay. Okay, now imagine it doesn't really matter 4 or 40 or 400, right? It's the concept is same. Okay, now we have 4 records. Now we are going to delete everything at one time. Bulk delete, we are going to do it. Okay. All right. So if you see here, whenever we write the query, we are able to see the ID. If you see it here, all the contact object will have 003. Okay, I already told you. Account will always start with 001, something like that. We have the unique ID. Now we know. Now we selected only ID, name, last name, the email, and using the condition. Okay. All right. Let's see how we can through the code how we can delete the everything in a bulk.
Karthik, what is that query grid mean?
What is that?
Query grid, save rows, insert row, delete row.
Oh, this is the one. Oh, so whatever. So this is the grid, right? So it is just showing it in the grid. Okay. Like when you want to have like the records that to be saved, you can save all the result sets. Whatever the result that comes in, you can save it. Okay.
So we can save it in a file, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
So when you're talking about the SOQL, just we'll be talking about more in detail about like whatever the query and everything. Okay. All right. So you can even delete it from here. Delete one row from the contact. Okay. This is like this is the total grid. Either you can refresh the grid to see the new results, or you can delete the row. You can insert one more row, or like you can save all these rows and everything. All these rows means all the records will be saved. Okay. Basically, all these records basically like you are reloading. Okay, you are reloading into the database, or you are refreshing all your data. Okay, to the database. Okay. All right. So one thing even you can just do it like when you create new, it even creates your new contact. They're so cool, like when you're okay. So where is my the developer console? So see here, when you're writing the query, they're having it here, right? Either you can just save all the rows, or in case if you make a change here, like I'm just making like Jatin to Jatin 12 or whatever, like you can even, if you want to just edit the page, you can edit the page by clicking here, and then it is going to update with your Jatin, whatever the record that I selected. Okay. So for example, your last name is going to be like Jatin 12. If I just do it and then save it, and then if you go back to the developer console, get refreshed, and then it did not bring me because I renamed it to Jatin 12, right? Only then it brings only Jatin. It did not bring Jatin 12 as the last name. Or I have to write another or statement, or last name equal to Jatin 12. Now it will bring. See here it brought. Okay. Basically, you can access the record. You can access the record of the particular object. They are giving so many flexibilities. You can even go and delete your record here. You can insert a new record here, or you can create a new page through the page from access in Salesforce. You can go and delete from there. You can open the particular, you can select, and then you can open the particular record. You can edit the page, or you can even create a new record. So they are giving all the flexibility of navigating from here. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yes, Karthik.
Cool. So now our goal was to delete the bulk. So that's what you guys asked, right? How do we delete in bulk to the development? Okay. So okay. Now I have this query. When I wrote this query, I have this for all 4 records. Okay. All right. So whenever you want to just insert your record, even you can even click the record, and then you can do all sort of things that whatever you want to do. Okay, so let me go on and then that. Okay, so I'm going to copy this query, that whatever the query that I wrote, I'm going to copy this query. Let's go back to our Apex class. Okay, all I'm going to do is I'm going to write the logic in the try. Okay, like for example, contact. I'm going to create a list. Okay, list of type contact list. Okay, this is a, you can even say like, contact list object, or you can even select like only contact string. Okay, it is basically when you say like it's creating the array object of contact, and then or contact, let's say contact to delete, something like that. Whenever you want to write your query language, you have to use the square bracket. You can put your query here. Whenever you want to write your query language, you have to always put it in the square bracket, and then you can put your query here. Okay. So this query is going to get executed, and it is going to save all the contact object here in the contact to delete. And then this is the array of contact object. Okay, this is the object. This is the array of contact object, and this is the original class. How do we say like string? Declare the string. Integer declare. It's same way. See here, this is DML exceptions. You see the object, right? So this is the object. What object is that? This is the object with the array that is going to store array of contacts. Okay, and then we are executing the query. Select ID, name, last name, email from contact, where last name equal to this, and it's going to bring like bunch of records into the contact to delete. This is an array. Okay, I have taught you in the previous classes. You can even create a list, how to create a list, how to look through the list, and everything we have seen. Okay, now it is there in the array object. All right, so like if you see here, now we need to go on delete. Let's see, delete contact to delete, or contacts to delete as an example, anything. Delete contacts to delete. What is the problem? Unexpected token. Okay, I'm just deleting the list. How do we create it? We created a bunch of records all at one time, right? The list insert, when you give the list of object, it gets inserted, right? All at a time. Remember, we saw it in the previous classes. Similarly, you have a list and then delete the list name, it will get deleted. Either it can have one object or it can have multiple objects. Now in this case, we are having a multiple objects. Okay. All right, let's go and close this. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Okay, there is no debug statement, which means that nothing error occurred, did not occur anything. Okay, so it got executed here. Now this is the code, right? This is the code that we wrote and we deleted in the bulk. Let's go and execute the code. Let's go and execute this query. It should not bring us anything technically, correct? Oh, we have it already here. Okay, I'm going to execute the query. See, it did not bring anything because we already deleted in the bulk. We deleted all the 4 records in one shot. using the delete statement, and this is the list. Does it make sense?
Yes, Karthik.
Any questions? Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear, Karthik.
Okay, I just want to make sure you guys understand the concept, everything. Like do the hands-on, create an object. Now you should be familiar with creating the standard object, custom object, or updating the fields to the existing object, creating a bunch of records and a single record, bunch of records, creating the class object, and then doing the DML operations, try, catch, exceptions, and do it with your statements, whatever we learn, insert, upsert, update, delete, all those things. Okay. And the more thing is that we have been doing the complex learning with the complex examples of in the bulk DML. We have been dealing with the bulk DML. We know how to deal with the single, and now we are also dealing with the bulk DML. These are all the bulk DML. Like we are bringing the bulk of records and then deleting it at one shot. We created a bulk of records at one time, insert statement, and we created one update and one insert at the same time, and then we used the upsert. So we have been seeing the various combinations of examples. Okay, right. So the two things, the merge and the undelete, we'll be talking about in the next class. Now we know what is, today we learned a lot. Now you are aware of what is SOQL and how to execute the SOQL, how to
Yep.
use SOQL in your Apex code,
Mhm.
how to bring in the data. See, instead of doing this delete operations, now you have the contact object. You can do whatever you want. Once you have the contact object, from the contact object, you can even update your field. You can even update your related list. You can bring anything that you want, right? You can write your own logic and then update the field. Do you understand what I'm saying? To answer Srinath's question, Srinath was telling that always we need to, if you're using SQL, are we to delete? No, 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 no. We can use the SQL and bring in the object. You can do anything with your object. It's not that you are going to delete it. Well, if you use the delete statement, it's getting deleted. You can even use whatever you want. You can loop through it. You can update anything. You can write your own logic. You can create from this contact, you can create another object. You can copy from value from this contact objects to some other object. You can do all sort of things, whatever you want. Basically, the concept is querying and then retrieving the data. And then what are we going to do with the data? I told you an example of like we can delete the data. Does it make sense?
Yes, Karthik.
Yes, Karthik.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Thank you. And
Thank you.
yeah. And one more thing. Give me 1 second. Let me stop recording.